As a couple was enjoying a romantic day at the beach, they decided to take a selfie to capture the moment. However, little did they know that something unexpected was lurking in the water behind them. As they reviewed the photo, they were shocked to see a large shark swimming just a few feet away from where they were standing. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. The sun was a burning coin in the sky, and the sand felt like warm velvet between their toes. Emily and Josh had come to the beach to escape the noise, the city, the endless lists of things they never seemed to finish. Here, the world was simple, just the two of them, the waves and the hush of the wind. Emily laughed as Josh chased her down the shoreline, both of them dodging the foamy edges of the tide. She felt young, lighter than she had in months. He caught her hand, and they spun together, dizzy from the sun and each other. "Let's take a picture," Josh said, breathless, his hair wild from the salt breeze. Emily grinned. "We look like we belong in a postcard." She fished her phone from the beach bag, wiped the screen on her towel. They stood with their backs to the water, arms around each other, faces shining with sweat and happiness. Josh held the phone out, squinting at the screen. 1, 2, 3, smile, the shutter clicked. They both looked at the photo, their faces close together, the blue of the ocean behind them. Emily giggled at her wind-blown hair, but then her smile faltered. "Wait," she said, her voice suddenly thin. Josh frowned. "What is it?" She zoomed in on the water behind them. There, just beyond where the waves broke, was a dark shape. Sleek, long, a thin, unmistakable, slicing the surface. Josh's heart thudded. "Is that—" "It's a shark," Emily whispered. They stared at the photo, the joy draining from their faces. The shark was so close, maybe 10 feet away, close enough to see the shadow of its body, the glint of its eye. Emily's hands trembled. She looked out at the water, scanning the waves. The surface was calm, innocent, as if nothing had ever disturbed it. But they both knew better now. Josh felt his throat tighten. He replayed the last few minutes in his mind. They'd been splashing, laughing, letting the water swirl around their ankles. They'd joked about swimming out farther, maybe even diving under the waves. If they had, would they have seen the shark? Or would it have seen them first? Emily pressed a hand to her chest, steadying her breath. She felt foolish for not noticing, for thinking the ocean was just a playground. She glanced at Josh. His jaw was clenched, eyes fixed on the water. She could see the worry in his face, the fear he was trying to hide. "I didn't even see it," she said softly. He shook his head. "Neither did I." They watched the waves for a long moment, searching for any sign. The fin was gone. The water looked harmless again. But the picture on Emily's phone told a different story. A cold shiver ran through her, even though the sun was still hot on her skin. The beach around them was alive with laughter, shouts, the crash of surfboards. Kids built sandcastles. Couples strolled, hands linked. No one else seemed to notice what had just happened. Emily wanted to warn them, to shout, "There's a shark out there!" But she hesitated. What if it was gone? What if people thought she was overreacting? Josh seemed to read her mind. "We should tell someone." She nodded. "The lifeguard." They walked quickly up the sand, their feet kicking up little clouds of dust. The lifeguard was perched high in his chair, sunglasses reflecting the sky. Josh waved the phone. "Excuse me." The lifeguard looked down, bored. "Yeah?" "There's a shark," Emily said, her voice shaking. "We saw it, in the water, right behind us." The lifeguard's eyes narrowed. "You sure?" Josh handed him the phone. The lifeguard studied the photo, then glanced at the ocean. He blew his whistle, sharp and loud. The sound cut through the beach like a knife. "Everyone out of the water!" he shouted. People turned, confused. Some laughed, thinking it was a joke, but the lifeguard's face was serious. Slowly, swimmers began to wade back to shore, muttering. Parents called for their kids. Emily and Josh stood back, watching the scene unfold. The lifeguard radioed for backup, his voice tight. Emily felt a strange mix of relief and guilt. Relief that they'd gotten out in time, guilt that they hadn't noticed sooner. What if someone else had been hurt? Josh squeezed her hand. "You did the right thing." She nodded, but her mind raced. She kept picturing the shark, silent and deadly, gliding just beneath the surface. She remembered reading somewhere that sharks were attracted to places with lots of fish. She looked down the beach. There were gulls diving, fish jumping in the shallows. She wondered how many times she'd swum in the ocean, never thinking about what might be swimming near her feet. The lifeguards cleared the water. People gathered in small groups, talking in low voices. Some looked angry, others scared. A little boy cried, clutching his mother's leg. Emily's heart twisted. She heard someone say, "Sharks never come this close to shore," but she knew better now. Josh pulled her close. "Let's sit down." They found a spot away from the crowd, under the shade of a palm. Emily scrolled through the photos on her phone. The one with the shark was burned into her memory. She thought about how quickly things could change. One moment, you're laughing in the sun. The next, you're staring at a predator, inches away. She wondered if she'd ever feel safe in the water again. As the afternoon wore on, the beach slowly emptied. The lifeguards posted signs, "Shark sighting, no swimming." Emily and Josh watched as the waves rolled in, empty now, untouched. "I used to love the ocean," Emily said quietly. Josh looked at her. "You still can. We just have to be careful." She nodded, but she wasn't sure. She thought about all the stories she'd heard, shark attacks, close calls. She'd always thought those things happened to other people, in other places, but now it felt personal. They packed up their things in silence. The sun was lower now, painting the sky in gold and pink. As they walked to the car, Emily glanced back at the water. It looked peaceful, beautiful, even, but she knew what could be hiding beneath. She thought about the shark. It wasn't evil, just hungry, just following its instincts. She wondered how many times she'd walked past danger without knowing. That night, Emily lay awake, the image of the shark haunting her thoughts. She replayed the moment they'd taken the photo, how close they'd come. She realized how fragile life was, how quickly things could change. She thought about the people on the beach, the children, the families. She hoped the warning had kept them safe. She promised herself she'd be more careful, more aware. The next morning, Emily and Josh sat on their balcony, sipping coffee. The ocean was visible in the distance, calm and blue. Josh reached for her hand. "You okay?" She nodded. "Yeah, just thinking." He smiled. "About the shark?" She laughed a little. "About everything." He squeezed her hand. "We were lucky." She knew he was right. A week later, Emily found herself back at the beach. She walked along the shore, watching the waves. She saw the warning signs, the empty lifeguard chair. She felt a flicker of fear, but also something else, respect. The ocean was beautiful, but it was also wild, unpredictable. She realized she couldn't control everything, but she could be careful. She could pay attention. She smiled, thinking of the photo. It was a reminder, not just of danger, but of how precious life was. As she stood at the water's edge, Emily took a deep breath. The salt air filled her lungs. She knew she'd come back. She'd swim again someday, but she'd never forget the lesson the ocean had taught her. Always be aware, always respect the wild, and never, ever turn your back on the water. That photo stayed on Emily's phone. She showed it to friends, to family, not to scare them, but to remind them. The ocean was beautiful, but it was also alive, and sometimes the most dangerous things were the ones you never saw coming. She and Josh still went to the beach. They still laughed, still took pictures, but now they always checked the water first. And they never forgot the day a simple selfie became a story they'd tell for the rest of their lives.